It begins with silence. No calls, no message, nothing. A stretch of missing hours that slowly extends into days, then into weeks. A vehicle is found abandoned on a quiet stretch of land in Southern California. The owner, a woman on a long road trip across the United States, is nowhere to be seen. Her belongings, her camper, her Jeep, they all remain behind like echoes of a life interrupted. But she herself is gone. This is the story of Ganna Kovrizhynkh, a woman with two names, a mysterious journey, and an unexplained disappearance that has left her family, her friends, and investigators all searching for answers. What happened between her last known contact on July 5, 2025, and the discovery of her abandoned vehicle a week later? Did she vanish by choice? Slip quietly into another life under another name? Did she fall victim to the unforgiving landscape near the border? Or did something darker take place in those 7 missing days? In this episode, we will go through what is known, what is not, and what might have happened in the unexplained disappearance of Ganna Kovrizhynkh. Ganna was 38 years old at the time of her disappearance. She lived in Florida, with her most recent address listed in Hallandale Beach. Records also connect her to a business in Sunny Isles Beach, a coastal city north of Miami. Physically, she is described as 5'5" and weighing about 100 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. She had several tattoos on her arms, and there was also a detail that stood out. Authorities noted that she may have been wearing a wig at the time of her disappearance. She was also known to use an alias, Angel Volnaya. Whether this was for business, for personal reasons, or for something else entirely is unclear. But the alias has become an important part of the investigation, as it suggests she may have had more than one identity or persona, making it harder to trace her movements. By mid-2025, Ganna was travelling cross-country in her Jeep, towing a camper trailer. The purpose of her trip has never been explained publicly. Was she relocating, taking a break from her life in Florida, meeting someone, or perhaps starting over? No one other than Ganna herself seems to know the answers to these questions. Her friends and family were aware of the trip, but the timeline of her journey and her destination were not fully known. This lack of clarity is one of the central difficulties in her case. There is no obvious roadmap to follow, and no clearly stated plan that investigators can retrace. On July 5, 2025, while travelling through San Diego County, Ganna sent her mother a very cryptic message. It was a photograph of a handwritten letter and included GPS coordinates. The letter reportedly instructed her mother to take control of her personal assets, and the coordinates corresponded to a rural location in Potrero, California, where her Jeep Grand Cherokee and camper trailer were found abandoned a week later. This final message has raised questions about whether Ganna intended to disappear voluntarily or if there were other factors at play. After that, there was nothing but silence. No one heard from her. She didn't check in with friends, family, or acquaintances. She left no public trace on social media, and no financial or travel records have been made public from this period. On July 12, 2025, exactly 1 week after her last known contact, a friend reported Ganna missing. This then led investigators to discover her abandoned Jeep and camper trailer in Potrero, which corresponded with the GPS coordinates that she had previously left her mother. Potrero is a rugged, sparsely populated community not far from the border with Mexico. The area is surrounded by steep hills and open land, a place where it isn't easy for someone to vanish without being noticed. Her vehicle was found, but the exact condition of the Jeep and the camper have not been shared with the public. Authorities have not revealed whether her personal belongings were inside, whether there were signs of a struggle, or if anything appeared unusual. What investigators did say is that Ganna herself was nowhere to be found. As we now know that Ganna's vehicle was found just miles from the border, investigators have had to consider the possibility that she may have crossed into Mexico. Tecate, a small port of entry east of Tijuana, is the most likely crossing. It is a quieter crossing than other areas, with fewer cameras and less traffic, which means that it can be harder to track movements. But it's important to stress that this idea remains only a possibility. The Sheriff's Office has said she may have crossed the border, but they have not produced any record of her doing so. US Customs and Border Protection has not released a match under her name, her alias, or her description, and Mexican immigration authorities have made no public statement confirming her entry. No witnesses have come forward either to say they have seen her on the other side of the border. This leaves investigators in a difficult position. If Ganna did cross officially, the paper trail has not been shared. If she crossed unofficially, there may be no record at all. And without that evidence, the Mexican connection is an open question rather than a confirmed lead. And if she did cross, the question becomes, was it voluntary or was she taken there? From the confirmed facts, the picture is very stark. Ganna was last heard from on July 5, 2025. On July 12th, she was reported missing, and her Jeep and camper trailer were discovered abandoned in Potrero, San Diego County. Authorities have said she may have crossed into Mexico, although this has not been confirmed. Beyond these points, everything else remains unknown. What makes this case especially unsettling is the void of information between July 5th and July 12th. During that week, there was no confirmed phone calls, no social media posts, no sightings, and there has been nothing ever since. It is as if her trail simply went cold overnight, leaving investigators with little to work from. As with any strange disappearance, theories begin to emerge. Some believe Ganna may have chosen to vanish. The alias, the wig, the abandoned vehicle, all of it could point to a plan to step away from her life. If she did cross into Mexico, it might have been her way of starting over. But there are problems with this theory. Most people who vanish voluntarily leave some sort of trail, whether it be financial withdrawals, online posts, or new contacts. None of that has been made public in Ganna's case. Another theory is accident or misadventure. Potrero is surrounded by difficult terrain, and if Ganna left her vehicle, she could have gotten lost, injured, or suffered a medical emergency. The summer heat, the isolation of the land, and the lack of nearby services all increase the risk. But so far, no remains, no belongings, and no physical evidence have been discovered to support this outcome. Another possibility is that of foul play, which is always present in missing person cases. Ganna's silence after July 5th and the discovery of her abandoned vehicle could fit this scenario. She could have been taken by force, either in California or across the border in Mexico. But so far, this remains speculation. Cases like Ganna's are notoriously difficult to solve. The gap between her last contact and the discovery of her abandoned vehicle leaves a wide window for something to have happened. The possibility of a border crossing creates jurisdictional challenges. US and Mexican authorities would need to cooperate, but without firm evidence of her crossing, even that coordination becomes uncertain. Investigators have appealed to the public for information, urging anyone who might recognise Ganna or the name Angel Volnaya to come forward, but as of now, no solid leads have surfaced. Ganna Kovrizhynkh's disappearance remains unsolved. We know where her journey ended, on a quiet stretch of land in Potrero, but we don't know what happened to her between her last known contact and the discovery of her abandoned vehicle. Did she walk away from her life and step into another identity? Did she fall victim to the unforgiving terrain or to something far more sinister? Or did she cross the border, slipping into a place where the trail had simply gone cold? Until more evidence is uncovered, the disappearance of Ganna Kovrizhynkh remains a mystery. If anyone knows anything, no matter how small, please contact the San Diego County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. And as always, take care and thank you for watching.